you are our biggest VIP for a while, I think. Dani Pedrosa, MotoGP legend, KTM test rider, Red Bull KTM test rider, I should say. Welcome to the MotoGP podcast, Last on the Brakes. Are you as excited to be here as we would expect from Dani Pedrosa, famous super fan of the media?
Hello. Thank you for the introduction and for your welcome. And I'm happy to be here. It's a great time to be at this GP. And first time doing this podcast with you.
It is. You did in the pandemic, when we did the online version, you talked to us then, and we were like, oh, great. Mm-hmm. Because you were I remember in my early days doing some of your debriefs, and it was just clearly the part where you're like, please leave me alone. And you're always all about the riding. So is that now a great balance for you, being a test rider, so you still get that thrill, but you don't have to do a podcast every week?
Exactly. I mean, it's true. I mean, since I'm retired, obviously.
Retired, but still nearly getting podiums, fighting for pole until the last sector.
Yeah, but retired. So I'm much more relaxed in this sense. And to be honest, of course, you change as a person when you have that pressure on or not. But to be true, when you are a rider from Repsol Honda, there is a lot more pressure, not only from the media, but also from inside the team. And it's much harder to deal with all that mandatory result happening. I don't know if I explained well. I
know. So what is expected of you is basically winning second.
Already second, you can get some sad faces.
But there are two people in the team, so as a team, they're expecting a 1-2, right? Every week. Yeah.
Yes, at least.
Photo finish with nothing to separate the riders.
That's where that wears on you, especially when you go to some weekend where you maybe doesn't feel good, or you feel like maybe it's the weekend of someone else, or you are not in the perfect shape to perform that well, and then that wears on you. But it's part of the game. But for sure, once I retire, then that pressure came off, and of course I can feel a little bit more open on things.
How long did it take that pressure to disappear then? Because I'm sure it wasn't. Was it like waking up on Monday after Valencia, like, I'm free?
It took me a while. To be completely honest, I actually request to be aside from all the media stuff, because I didn't want to deal with any.
This is what I thought, right? Your agreement was like, I'll ride the bike, leave me alone.
Exactly. Yeah. And I had the will to do it this way, because I just feel at the time I needed to reset somehow, to find some things with myself. And okay, I can do certain things, but I cannot keep the same style on and on all the time. So I actually wanted to regroup and feel again the excitement only about racing and testing and stuff, and doing things with the team, and not much about all the circus around. So I needed that. Yes,
I can imagine you were never the showman in that way with the media, like coming in.
No, absolutely not. And also you agree with me. At the time we had Rossi, which who can beat Rossi in that regard?
It's true. You did coexist with
exactly
the greatest showman in that in that little era. But so now then you see reset, relaxed. You're here. You're on our new sofa set, which I'm sure everyone on YouTube will give us their opinions on. But how is it now you've gone from that, okay, reset, no media stuff, just testing the bike, completely new kind of life, and then you've done a few wildcards. First one was quite dramatic. That was a bit of a dramatic race weekend, obviously, if everyone remembers, in Austria, but I think it was the Styrian Grand Prix. But last year here, you were the showman. How does that feel now, experiencing that again, but in a completely different context?
Yes, I mean it's completely different way of approaching the GP as I mentioned before when I was racing full time, and now I am much more aware of the surroundings, and I can also enjoy more these surroundings.
It even looks like.
So before I was just in that tunnel where you try to avoid all about media and all what is trash talk and all what is happening besides racing. So you try to be in that tunnel that only for you it's only racing, and instead now I can enjoy more the weekend in a full view and with all the aspects that it brings.
Because it was especially cool here last year when you were on the rider parade and then Jack had you.
He's the man.
In front of the crowd. He's a showman.
He's a showman, exactly.
But yeah, how does it feel now? Because you had huge success. You're really, really popular globally and in Spain. Obviously, at first we had Team Lorenzo, Team Pedrosa, which we'll go back to with a new challenge later. But you've always had a huge amount of people that love you, support you, and follow you. But last year it seemed like everyone realised, I don't know, it's weird for you to answer this, just how great you were. But when you come back as a legend and you're not like a rival every week and there's not that kind of feeling, the welcome you got was incredible.
That's true. I was surprised and happily amazed by the welcome, not only from the fans but also from the riders themselves.
Maybe before they realized you were going to be quite so quick.
and yeah, it's a wonderful feeling to have. I actually never expect that to happen once you are already 4 or 5 years into retirement.
Well, you say that, but I think this is your 299th Grand Prix. Obviously, last year you did 2 wildcards. I'm not going to push for any spoilers for more, but you're really close now to that 300. You're also, I think, 2 podiums behind Jorge on the all-time list.
Really?
As well. So
Ooh.
I think so. So you know, if that's an incentive to see you back, I want to see you at Sepang because you were so quick at Sepang as well.
It's true.
I'm like, come on, let's get those numbers.
Sepang is a track I like. Yes, I enjoy that. I didn't know those numbers. I mean, someone mentioned to me it's the 299. So it's not a number I like very much.
Okay, I've taken that.
I like the 3 number. But well, who knows? We will have to speak to KTM.
We will, yeah. We won't push for any spoilers. So obviously that speaks to the incredible career you had before rather. Now test riding. What does that look like for you? Like, what's a week in your life or a month in your life now when you're not wildcarding and coming back here? What's your kind of life now? I
have a perfect balance. I think I'm enjoying life better than ever, and I'm truly enjoying every different situation I have. So even if it's testing or working with the team or doing the TV with Dazón for the Spanish.
Yeah, you're good at that, eh?
TV.
Like you've taken to that, like, yeah.
Thank you. And I'm trying my best for sure. And what else? Or when I have really no appointments and I'm at home, I have time for my personal things. And yeah, I have a perfect balance, to be honest.
And are you still windsurfing?
Yes, I do.
This was your thing,
yes,
right?
I do.
Your kind of exotic hobby.
Actually, last year I was pretty active. So I was a lot of times in the water practicing and improving some of the moves. So, you know, I always try to keep the risk as low as possible. But this year so far, I haven't had a chance yet. But last year I was.
We need some social behind the scenes content
from windsurfing.
Yeah, we need more.
The thing is that who is filming me when I'm in the middle of the sea.
Well, you need the
It's very hard to
GoPro.
get. I would love to, but it's actually, yeah, I have to do something with maybe
You should, for sure.
something on board. Yeah.
So you want to see it? Like, come on.
Okay, I'll do my best next
It's been
time.
like a 10-year, like, Dani loves windsurfing. Ask him about windsurfing. 'Cause
Okay.
a lot of people don't have something like that, you know? A lot of people are like, yeah, I go home. I see
Actually,
my wife,
we
I'm
get a
gonna come
lot
back.
of speed, jumps, crash. So
Not too many.
there is some footage that can be shown to the people.
Well, it is cool. Now, at KTM, obviously, like you said, Repsol Honda, your previous life. Before that, 3 World Championships as well on your way to MotoGP. Now you're in a different role. You kind of... It must be interesting for you as well to work with other riders rather than compete against them. What do you make of those guys and like the team that they have now? And then I'm going to have to ask you specifically about Pedro, of course. But how is it being in that role rather than being such bitter rivals and you're like, oh no, you could actually do this better or maybe do this?
To be honest, with the riders, I try to be very conservative. I obviously see some things, and I, in the past years, try to tip a few things here and there, but every person is so special, and they have their own ways to understand things or improve in their capacities. So sometimes you suggest things that can be done, but you also have to time the right moment, or have to be somehow someone close, or even though you are respected from other riders, you have to have confidence with them, and to be truly open in that regard. I try to be conservative. I don't like to go too much and say you should or you could or whatever.
Do they ask you? Or is
Sometimes,
it a natural balance?
Sometimes, but at the same time, when you don't go to every race and then you go to just one and you say, I see this and I see that, change this or that, it's too aggressive, I think, because every team has their routine for every weekend and the way of make the weekend happen in a correct way. So to step on and suddenly adjust to that, I think it's not good. So in my position, I like to stay back. I'm there if I can help, but I prefer to be asked that rather than to point finger
I
everywhere.
feel like that's a very Pedrosa response in the best way. Just like, oh, just gonna do my job. I'm here if you need me.
Yeah, exactly.
But so with Pedro, then I've got to ask you. He's made quite an impact. What do you make of that? Now, you were the victim of the superstar rookie in some ways last time a similar situation happened, when obviously Mark coming in as your teammate. I don't want to ask you too much about that because I feel like you've probably talked too much about that already in your life. But it is crazy the amount of attention and hype that happens when there is this rider that comes up. Fabio had a lot of that when he was a teenager on his way up, but he was never in that team with the expected contender in the same way that Mark was. And then Pedro, obviously 2 back-to-back podiums already. What do you see in him arriving now? Is he... I'm not going to say the next Mark, because Fabio was the next Mark. Mark was the next Dani, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Everyone is obsessed with this. But what do you make of Pedro?
I mean, like Pedro said, Pedro is himself. So he's not a new Mark or Mark 2.0, or Pedro is Pedro. And obviously what we could see until now is that he has something special. Coming into the class, 3 races in, 2 podiums already, learning so quick and adapting so well to the class. This shows you something, I think. Like I did in the past when I joined MotoGP with Nicky, first race.
Oh yeah, you were. Yeah, you're the one who's just like, yeah, I'm here.
Then Jorge Lorenzo did it with Valentino. Mark did it with me. So yes, it's certain. There are certain similarities there in a way how mentally a young guy like him is approaching some more experienced guys. So there are difference between someone like Pecco, who is already 2 times world champion, and someone who is already 19, but in the approach is how strong mentally Pedro is adapting and willing to already be there. So,
and he is a bit of a showman as well.
He is, yes.
He's great.
Yes.
His first press conference, he's making his joke about when I entered my like this, like, come on. From that moment, everyone was like, okay, this guy's like this. But yeah, so this weekend then, and wildcards, what made you decide to do it? After you'd done that reset and you've got your windsurfing, your DAZN.
Yeah, pretty busy, although I have good time off, but we just had some items in the bike, and the final conclusion for the team was that they would like to test them on a race weekend. So I think we test a few different things on the bike that are quite good, but when you have a long day and you can do your own pace and test them or change things with all the time, it's never the same as when you have to deliver at the correct time. So the conclusion from the team was
It's a very PR answer.
No, it's true, but it's the truth. Actually,
I want you to say.
I said to them, yeah, but we can wait a few more tests, maybe have a little more understanding about some things. But actually, they prefer to test it here because Monday,
yeah,
there is a test, and then they can supply, maybe if the result is good, some of the items that I will be testing to them, and then they can wrap up much more information. Okay, this Dani comments, and then this is our factory riders comments.
Well, I mean, it's working for you as well. The final question on the testing stuff: how does it feel for you to still be this fast? Because for us, it's like How does it feel when you really, like, genuinely, you were almost on pole here last year, that final sector. You're still so quick.
It feels good because as you know, there is this saying, when you get older, you go slower. So just the feeling that, okay, I'm getting older, but I'm still not getting so much slower, it feels good. Obviously, I don't feel myself like when I was at my peak, but I still can deliver some quick laps, and that's good.
Some quick laps. Very modest way of putting it, but we'll take it. So we have a little section at the end with a few shorter quick-fire questions and some fan facts with our title sponsor this weekend as well, Estrella Galicia 00. They're not too scary. The first one I already said is the obvious question. It's the talk of the town today, which is from @TheLulucky. When is the boxing match going to happen? So you know exactly what this is about.
Actually, we don't have date yet.
So for context, Jorge Lorenzo has challenged you to a boxing match.
Exactly. To remove all stuff.
To finally settle those old scores.
Yes.
Which seems like you did anyway, but sure. No, we love it. So the next one, a bit of a different one from, I think it's Yerna Jabasek. Not sure on pronunciation, I'm sorry. What is your biggest regret?
Tough question.
Because you seem very...
I know very well. Biggest regret is not to listen to my gut or to pay more attention at certain times in my career to what my gut was telling me.
Okay.
You know, you have some feeling, you know, it's that, but mentally you say, no, I have to go this way, and then...
Okay, interesting. So do you listen to it more now?
Way more.
Way more. Interesting. From Speaker, if you could see the amount of different letters in that username, you'd think I shortened it. Who was your best teammate?
I had great teammates in Repsol Honda. Nicky was a great guy, super competitive, like awful competitive. I mean, he never threw the towel down, and that was not nice, because when you are faster or you are you think you have things under control, he always would show up next morning with plenty of energy to redeem himself.
I did this.
So, yeah, exactly. So he was, but aside from that, he was such a great person. Casey was extremely talented and very difficult to beat, but as a person, he was also such a nice guy. And Mark was extremely competitive, but also a good person. So also Andrea Dovizioso was such a nice guy as well. Who was the best? I would say I learned a lot from Mark and from Casey, but I don't take one above the other.
Okay, fair. So this is a bigger question, but we're going to ask you for just two. From Luis 10J LJM, what were the best and worst moments in your career?
Best moments, easy question, I would say, are my World Championships and some of the wins. Worst, I would say, the last part of my career was hard emotionally, and I wasn't enjoying so much racing. But I would say the worst, when I lost the championship in 2012 in Misano, there with all that shit that happened, sorry.
No, it's okay. This is not a TV product.
And,
okay.
And the following year when I had that crash in Aragon
Yep.
and stuff.
Sensei. Well, I thought you might say that one because it was...
That was something hard to swallow, yeah.
So, Los Bordini, what track would you like to ride in the opposite direction? Would you like to ride a track in the opposite direction, or?
I never thought about that.
And it's not like something everyone's dreaming of.
Probably now I don't have one track in my mind, but probably yes, I would like to.
Okay, that'd be an interesting one to see, I think. From Lou Stylist, do you have any nice memory with a fan that you remember? Anything specific? You can't say no, they'll be heartbroken.
I mean, I have many, but for example, in Japan, you see crazy things of the fans, crazy gifts as well. But I had one fan from Italy, which I feel like she was waiting all day long for 4 days straight for me to sign her.
Gosh.
But she never actually asked. She was just there standing in the door of the box, and I was coming in and out during all the weekend, signing things for people. But she was some kind of person that didn't want to ask me, and finally my father took me and say, she wants a picture with you, and I said, okay, no problem. But she's waiting for 4 days, and wow. That touched me, that she didn't want to disturb.
Right? It's like the commitment to stand there, but also the, I don't know, it's not just politeness, because it's not impolite to ask, but just the like, no.
Exactly.
That's very nice. Final one's quick one. Your favorite race?
Difficult to choose. Favorite race, difficult to choose. It's a quick answer. So I would say Aragon 2015 is one of my favorites.
That was good. Oh yeah, that was good actually. That was great. Your favorite race you've watched that you've not been in?
Probably Laguna Seca 2008.
Interesting. And then finally, your best battle?
Best battle? Probably that one with Valentino in Aragon.
It was good?
Yeah.
Okay, classic. I think that's all of our questions then. Thank you so much for learning to love us once we left you alone for a while. But no, seriously, it is so good to see you back. I think especially like fans like me who've been watching a lot longer, it's great to have this mixture of like new heroes and then you turn up every now and then and just like, hi, still here. And then obviously the progress that KTM have made, really fighting at the front, is incredible. And obviously you're a key part of that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for podcasting with us. Have an amazing weekend. And yeah, all the best.
All the best. Thank you.
Here's Maverick Vinales. What a super Saturday.